Well, he won, and I think he viewed that he accidentally won.
Well, he did.
I mean, we keep getting these presidents that don't really want to be president. Before him, we had George Bush, who wanted to be the commissioner of baseball. And Biden, by the way, he didn't really want to run anymore either, but because of the things in Charlottesville and certain other events, he decided to go for it. We kind of keep getting stuck with these guys that really didn't want the job that much.
Right. That's an interesting. That's
it's
an
weird.
Interesting thought. Yeah,
it's
really
weird.
Is.
But anyway, no. So the point of the book was to have a reference volume that essentially would cover everything of importance. I think I told you earlier, coming from the music business, I had modeled it after a book I had a long time ago called A Day in the Life of the Beatles.
Right.
Which covered every day that they did something of interest, from the clubs in Hamburg to Coming to America and the Ed Sullivan Show and all these different things that happened in the life of the Beatles. And I wanted to kind of replicate that for Trump because of exactly what you said, that there was so much going on that people could not possibly keep up with it all. And there are even things that people know about in the back of their mind, but they've kind of forgotten about.
Right.
And they're sort of going to get lost to history, including, silly things like, you remember the day he came out and he wanted to buy Greenland?
Yes, I do.
Right? Okay, it's not a major event.
No.
But it's certainly a crazy event. And, we cover things like the tweets, but who could forget Covfefe?
Oh, Covfefe. Right.
There's a crazy, if you want to go over it, we can at some point, but I have a top 10 list of
Okay, we'll get to that. So now, that's why when I saw you online talking about this book, Days of Trump, I thought, that's like a non sequitur. But I knew that you've been politically active. I follow you on Facebook and Twitter, and I see the stuff that you've written. And you are involved, and you've done a number of things throughout the years. You had a thing called Webcaster for a while. You've ventured into other areas. I just thought this was an unusual departure. And then the book comes out, and it debuts as at the top of the list of political biographies or whatever category it was.
Presidential biography is #1 at Amazon. Hello.
Okay, but it's not really a biography. This is here's what happened day to day. And I think it's really important because it's so easy to say, out of sight, out of mind. And we're coming up on the anniversary. January 21st was Sean Spicer, period. The next one was January 22nd, Kellyanne Conway, and alternative facts. Then after that, you go to April 26, 2017. So I guess he had a pretty uneventful 4 months. The Trump tax plan?
Yeah, well, I think, by the way, I refer to that as largely the heritage tax.
Right.
Because I think he just, this plan had been sitting in Paul Ryan's file cabinet, I think, for 4 years until they could get a president that would pass it. But also, we started, and on January 31st, I added a new date, which was when he began appointing Supreme Court justices. Right. And our unmasked Neil Gorsuch was the first one up. And so that has various dates because that took place over a lengthy period of time. But what's interesting here is that you could tell right from the beginning, they were bragging about the crowd size, they were talking about alternative facts, and they were appointing conservative judges all within the first 10 days of the new administration. So they wasted no time getting on top of it. And then he also, he introduced that tax plan, which I'm sure a lot of the big donors, wanted to see happen. Mm-hmm. And then I have another one of the days I picked the Covfefe tweet.
Yes, got that one.
Which was on May 30th, only to represent the tweeting. Right, the tweeting was staying throughout the whole time, but to pick a date, I picked that one.
Gotcha. Well, and so we knew very early on, that truth was going to be an issue with them. When Sean Spicer got up there and did that, we knew immediately, oh shit, we're in for something these next few years. And then the tweeting took off, and then everything else. Right. So, what else you got on this list? You got Covfefe. Then you go to.
Go ahead. Well, we have the Helsinki trip with Putin.
Oh yeah, I've got that picture. By the way, this book has tons of photographs. Some, that will make you go, oh yeah, I remember that. The Helsinki summit This was stomach churning, and somebody made the observation during Joe Biden's press conference today that not once did Joe Biden make excuses for or praise Vladimir Putin, and he got a lot of questions about Russia and Ukraine. So there's that.
Yes, that's right. He definitely did. And, the problem with the Helsinki summit was that they didn't take any notes.
Right.
And we don't know what was discussed behind closed doors because there was never any record of it. And, I think that's the first time we've ever had such an international summit without a note taker. And, he didn't have a note taker for a reason.
Right. He didn't want anybody there explaining what he said to Vladimir Putin. It was his decision. I think Russia had somebody there. Didn't he even have like the not regular translator? He used Russia's translator, so he didn't use the person who was supposed to be there for that purpose. Right.
And this all coming from the guy who said, Russia, if you're listening.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
Then where he spoke at the UN and he called him Little Rocket Man. And then he finally had the meeting at the DMZ, which we also have pictures in the book. I want to get back to your picture comment in a minute. We have the Mueller investigation, including the Mueller giving the report to Bill Barr, who was, the guy who ostensibly commissioned the report. And suddenly, that was on March 22nd, but then the redacted version went to the public on April 18th, and it wasn't quite the same as the way Bill Barr had portrayed it.
It was nothing like how Bill Barr portrayed it.
Well, right.
He betrayed it. He didn't portray it. Right.
That's interesting, right. Including, I would point people to, if they have a copy of the Mueller report, go to volume 1 and go to page 6. And just real quickly, let me just read a quick highlight of this, because it's right in the report. It says, separately on August 2nd, 2016, Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort met in New York.
And he's got a few others on here. The day with Dr. Birx. Did I have this? I pulled a bunch of photographs, and now I don't see those either. I really was prepared, I'm telling you. And this is the quote from the day that, after COVID took hold of the nation, and Donald Trump, medical expert, gets up, says, and then I see the disinfectant where it knocks it out in 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that, but by injection or almost a cleaning? Because you see, it gets in the lungs and it does a tremendous number on the lungs. So it would be interesting to check that out. So that you're going to have to use medical doctors with, but it sounds interesting to me. Yeah, I remember that. That's my Trump impression. Can you tell?
No, you do it very well. I'm impressed.
Thank you. I had a lot of practice doing it. Had 4 years.
You make me think that my book could be turned into a script for a movie.
Oh, it could. Much like when Sarah Palin. It's bringing back memories. When Tina Fey got up on Saturday Night Live and did Sarah Palin, and they didn't change a word. She said exactly the words that Sarah Palin said. That's pure comedy, and you could do it with Trump too.
Oh yeah, real life is just as ridiculous as you think it is. Yeah, very true.
And you can't forget the sniffs.
It's key. It's key to the whole thing.
To the impression, it's got to be there. Okay, so you were talking about someone was taking notes in the chat room. The Mueller report, page 6, where it said no collusion. What happened there? That's where you were when we got cut off.
Yeah. There is collusion. There is collusion. I mean, Trump has a way of jumping out in front of the message. And, somebody once said that, this is a guy that will find any parade that looks like it's in his favor and jump in the front of the line. And he did it very effectively here. I mean, half the country thinks that there was no collusion found in the Mueller report, and it's right there on page 6.